Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Come up the Tuesday Rant on the Crusty Canuck podcast. Today's topics will be a so-called Nazi in the House of Commons and more deflections from the Liberal Party. Yes, of course, in regards to cutting the GST when building low rental apartments. All that more come on the podcast. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because I do swear and smoke cigarettes. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tuesday Rant of the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 232. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Yes, we'll be talking about the so-called Nazi, and I'm not going to say that magical word in case of censors, in the House of Commons, and more deflections from the Liberals. Yes, of course, I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, on this beautiful 26th of September. Hope you all had a good weekend. What have you? Hope you got everything done, getting ready for the onslaught that we call winter in this part of the country that's on its way. You know, it's always creeping its ugly head. It's September. And if you like and hear what you see, ladies and gentlemen, please click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms. Get the Canadian voices out there, especially to other Canadians. Fellow Canadians, please share my stuff, comment, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. It just helps with the algorithm. If you don't like my content, then say so. You want to send me an email saying you disagree with this, please say so. Communication, keep the dialogue going. So in news today, I guess Andrew Hoyta, whatever his name was, the House Speaker, I guess he did a very, very bad thing. Now, I don't have any footage queued up. It's been on the news all effing day. I'm getting sick of seeing it and hearing about it. How he was so sorry, self-flagellates, and how the House of Commons is actually dealing with it too. Okay. Mr. Hoyta was, I think, from the Nipissing riding just around the North Bay area, Liberal Party. He's been in Parliament, I think, the better part of 7 years. So I'm not really too worried about him losing his job or, any member of the Liberal Party for that matter, based on their track record prior to the pandemic and during and after the pandemic up until now. I am not impressed with any of them. So I don't feel bad for the guy. Now, here is my take on what should have happened. Anytime you invite someone to the House of Commons, doesn't matter if it's a police officer, an actor, entertainer, a fellow diplomat, another politician, a veterans, what have you. I know everybody gets vetted properly, meaning they get a background check. They get, who are these individuals? Have they committed any crimes before? Are they a threat? Are they dangerous? Blah, 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 what have you. And what gets me is that I don't understand how people have missed that this veteran, I know 98 years old guy, confined to a wheelchair, served with an ally of the German forces during the Second World War. Okay. And it seems ironic that Mr. Zelensky hasn't said anything about it yet either. So with all that being said, I think there's a shit show going on. And Mr. Hoyt is a fall guy for something or whatever. I don't really care. The thing being is that we have a government that collects intelligence that can pinpoint who donated to the last Freedom Convoy and freeze their bank accounts and can pinpoint who is saying what to whom on any given day of the week in the House of Commons and the surrounding area. Okay. The House of Commons has received reports from CSIS in regards to what the CCP has interfered on for the past few years. Yet they don't have enough know-how or gumption or chutzpah to understand, you've got a former allied of the Nazi front here. You have an ally that served with the Nazi party, with the Nazis during the Second World War. Well, now, whether Mr. Hoyta jumped the gun or not, invited this guy along and praised his efforts, it still goes to show that there are still so many liberal-minded politicians. Okay, the politicians, not the people. Okay, because there's different contrasts of liberalism here for you and I, ladies and gentlemen. I've said numerous times in this show, I'm what you call a libertarian classical liberal. Do what you do you, I do me. We all get along and just live in harmony. But anyway, enough of that. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make, without sounding like a total tool, is that every politician in that House of Commons should have done a hell of a lot better due diligence. Now, if they have the means, like I said, to check out bank accounts and freeze bank accounts from single moms, single dads, and blue-collar workers alike, they have the bloody know-how to pinpoint a man's service record. Now, whether he snuck under the radar, like a lot of people did, coming from Europe into North America after that bloody war, okay, they should have done better. Honestly, they should have done better. They should have done better in regards to understanding what are they praising. And again, it's just based on another tick in the box of how Canada has looked stupid again, right? We have a government that fails to upgrade our services properly, meaning that they only upgrade the military based on what the boards say or what they can fiscally do. Yet they want to replace the whole Polaris air fleet for the government aircraft that can travel around the globe nonchalantly and dictate to people like you and me, we have to eliminate our carbon footprint. Priorities, right? They'll up the taxes, income taxes especially, right? Based on their math, I should be paying the federal government an extra $320 a month in income tax based on what they say, based on what the projection, plus what I pay for carbon taxes every time I fill up, when I turn my lights on, when I put food in my fridge to feed my wife and I, right? And it's still not enough according to them. Yet they don't have the goddamn know-how to vet who comes in the House of Commons to be given any kind of accolade, right? Self-explanatory. And it shows how irresponsible our government is being. Now, even today, too, I was honestly trying to make a sound effort into listening to all the excuses from the Conservatives, Liberals, NDP, and Le Bloc alike in regards to this incompetency. And what I'm hearing is just all word salad, garbage. And Liberals are basically throwing Hoyda under the bus, and they're not taking responsibility. Of course, the Conservatives can't take responsibility. They weren't in charge of what's been going on. But there's a lot of people that work in the House of Commons that should know better too. People that are not associated with any party, they're just associated with doing their jobs. So security, RCMP, security heads alike. Okay. And how could they miss that? Now, I don't have the links to who broke this story, what have you, but I'll leave the best links I can up for you, ladies and gentlemen, my wonderful audience there, to follow and decide at your leisure, to make your own decisions, to come up with a conclusion and go from there. But to my fellow Canadians out there, it doesn't matter if you're liberal, doesn't matter if you're conservative, doesn't matter if you're NDP, if you're independent, or if you just don't really give a royal rat's ass anymore about who's calling the shots in this country, I think you can probably agree with me that there's a ton of unaccountability going on all sides of the House. And, we can finger wag all day like they've done in the House of Commons. The base salary of an actual MP is anywhere from $189,000 to $194,000 to sit and do this, more or less say, it's not my fault. Oh, it's not my fault. No, it's not my fault. It's your fault. No, it's their fault. And it just goes to prove how slack and idle they really are. And regardless of the inflation that's going on in this country, regardless of how much debt this country's accumulated, they're still not representing us, the people, the taxpayer, the constituents, and the people that really give a fuck.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Rant, episode 232 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. A Nazi was in the House of Commons. Yeah, poor fella, confined to a wheelchair, 98 years old. And more deflections from the Liberals. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe and give me a comment or two. To my Rumblers out there, same thing. Give me some likes, give me some comments. Let me know what's on your mind. And share my content all of your social media platforms too. You can find the podcast on Podbean. Thank you once again to my Podbean subscribers. It's going up. Thank you very much. And I'm getting the downloads. Great. Just let me sort out some tax issues before I submit some papers so I can start getting paid, which would be nice. I put a lot of work into these shows. I had to accumulate some pretty Gucci equipment to make this podcast what it is, but it's because of you, my wonderful audience. You make it worth it, and I love doing it, and I love getting out here ranting and raving on the Tuesday rant and the regular show every other Saturday just to get the words out there so you have a different point of view and a different perspective, ladies and gentlemen. So one more time, round of applause for you wonderful people out there. You guys are awesome, and I'm very, very grateful. Whatever gods are in the heavens right now, thank you and thank you. Anyway, carrying on with this episode 232. So we find ourselves in a real pickle. Oh, what would Paul Lynn say about that, eh? Oh, one turkey or two. A lot of turkeys in the House of Commons, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of turkeys. A lot of people who just don't give an F, give this, give that, because they're all looking out for themselves. Looking out for their pay, looking out for their pensions, looking out for their perks and privileges, while us plebes sit and struggle and get online and bitch full time. Yes, as we should. And there's a lot of aftermath that's going on, not just with the inflation and the housing plans that the Liberals are projecting, and the old Nazi, I guess you can say, that was in the House of Commons. And regardless of how you look at history at that time, and whether he was Ukrainian and he served with that special unit that were against the Russians, you have to realize, too, that in World War II, Russia was an ally against the Nazi onslaught that was all over Europe. And regardless of what the politics were of the time, Russia kicked a lot of ass, kicked Germany back. So they were an ally. And I don't know about you, but it'd be like the House of Commons standing up and praising somebody who flew a Zero bomber during Pearl Harbor. Even though getting along with the Japanese great now, that's what an individual did. Or somebody who served with Mussolini's Italy during the first couple of years and then getting praised for those efforts. I would say to the House of Commons, if you're going to praise veterans, you look at every veteran that's still alive from World War II, Korea, peacekeepers, and our guys and gals from Afghan. That's how you're going to win hearts and minds with the masses, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you're going to win hearts and minds with the Canadian people. Little things like that. Not these little token gestures about, we're going to get rid of the GST on low rental income housing so we give construction workers a break. Oh, yay. Really? You want to give construction workers a break? You want to give people a break? Here's an idea. Get rid of the carbon tax. Oh, what a lovely idea. Lower the income tax rates for the middle class. Right? Take a healthy pay cut. Because in order to save the milk, you got to cut the cream and use the cream for other things when it's important, right? That simple thing. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Common sense? What the fuck is common sense? We don't have that kind of thing around here. Enough of that gravy train, I tell you, right? And then we're also seeing some auto workers threatening to strike. I know they're striking in the United States. Joe Biden was down there with the workers' union, right? So you're seeing a lot of politicians getting their hands in certain causes, right? What I understand of a politician, especially if you're a president or especially if you're a prime minister, you shouldn't be taking sides in what's going on in your own country. You should be finding a viable solution to have an agreement so everyone tries to be happy. That's a part of being a leader. Now, when you had the Million Man March for Children this passed on the 20th, 6 days ago, Jagmeet Singh was out there front and center with the trans rainbow flag, saying there's no place for hate, taking the side of the trans activists. Now, what you believe personally, that's up to you. But here's a guy that says, oh, he's working class. He stands up for the workers. And he stands up for the common people while he wears a $2,000 Rolex and has custom-made suits and he drives a BMW. I don't think that man's ever worked a hard day in his life. And for the record, too, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I know, he's not allowed to travel into India because of apparently some Khalistani connections or rumblings. I'm not getting into that shit, but let's just say, it doesn't look good for him. And on my Twitter feed, I see a lot of the NDPers and liberals constantly taking the sides of the trans kid because of projected suicide rates. And, we don't want to come out to our parents because this, because that. And yet, okay, you don't want to come out to your parents that you're trans, but you come out to your parents if you're gay or straight. Okay. That's the excuse I get. Now, when I was 40, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to do the deed. And it wasn't because of my identity, and it wasn't because of my skin color, my marital status. It was because I wasn't feeling good about anything. And what gets me is when these so-called educators, degrees and all that stuff, try to tell me that we have to end these rates. Well, where are these rates coming from? If someone's determined to hurt themselves, they will, regardless of their identity. It's what's going on in here and how they feel, like talking really, really feel, not just because of they feel, but about someone making a comment about what they're wearing. Okay. And I also know for a fact that being a teenager does suck. It doesn't matter what you're doing. That's all part of growing up. You're going to have emotions. You're going to get anger. You're going to feel joy. You're going to be sad. You're going to be confused. That's all part of it. But I'm finding a lot of these people are coddling too goddamn much and projecting a what if rather than what is. Kind of like our government. They project a what if rather than what is. Oh, no, the inflation's going down, even though we caused it. Oh, no, we can build houses, even though we make it harder. Oh, no. We're not in charge of food prices at all. Oh, no. We just make the taxes that make the food prices higher. But we'll blame the CEOs and the grocery CEOs, and we'll blame the builders, and we'll blame the parents, right? So you see a vicious cycle here. Who's to blame? No one's taking accountability for shit, right? Karina Gold stood up. I guess she's the House leader, I guess, whatever her position is. They change positions like I change socks every fucking day. Anyway, I digress. Talking about how embarrassed she was and how ashamed she was, and yet she's just throwing another cabinet member under the bus. And she was one of the individuals, I think, along with Stephen Gilboa, that proposed C11, C36, and C18, the kerfuffle that we're having now, right? So that gives you perspective on where these people really generally stand on getting things done. Okay. Not the party, not the person, but the constituents and your country.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And once again, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for tuning in this far to the Crusty Canuck podcast. The Tuesday Rant. Every Tuesday, I put an episode up called the Tuesday Rant. And every other Saturday, I have a regular Crusty Canuck episode for you to listen and enjoy at your leisure. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Yes, topics today are the Nazi in the House of Commons and more deflections from the Liberals. So I've already dwelled on the whole Nazi issue because it's such a trendy buzzword right now. A few years ago, all the SJW saying, let's go punch a Nazi. Someone doesn't agree with me, there must be a Nazi, right? That's great. It's trendy. And when we're done punching the Nazis, let's get a pumpkin spice latte and some avocado toast. Oh, it feels so wonderful. Revolution. Yeah. Problem is, some of these kids, if they actually had a chance to have any kind of revolution, they wouldn't know what to do because it'd be cannon fodder, right? They'd be peons. What did Lenin say? Useful idiots, right? Something like that. Useful idiots. Morons. Some people's kids, eh? Let me tell you, some people's kids. But regardless of where you stand on the trans issue, if a young person is having a genuine hard time trying to figure out who or she is or whatever, then yeah, okay, I can understand a certain defense. Don't let my parents know. But then that kid has to have a genuine fear of their parents to begin with. So, and there's already things in place that will assist kids who are abused domestically and who are abused emotionally and physically, like I just said, domestically. Anyhow, make a long story short, there's already things in place to help kids. And when it comes to these liberal mandates that are deflecting on what's going on here too, calling all parents, a transphobe and homophobe and biphobe. I made a point of saying that in my last episode. I said, what the hell is biphobe? Right? We're not seeing the genuine leadership as we should, and as we, the Canadian taxpayers, deserve. And you, my American audience, too. Are you generally seeing the leadership you deserve, whether it be in your county, in your district, in your state, governing the United States, governing Canada? To my friends in Britain, are you seeing an honest to God good PM? Right? It's funny because when you look at the English PM, comes from money. When you look at the American president, comes from money. When you look at our prime minister, comes from money. Why can't we elect officials to run in districts and in municipalities and provinces and states alike that don't really come from a lot of money? I know it takes money to run a campaign. I ran a campaign. I had a couple of hands doing it, but basically it was more or less myself, a couple of people I knew, and then me hitting the road, knocking on doors, the old-fashioned way, right? So we have to ask ourselves, who are we putting in charge yet again? And I will say to you, my Canadian audience, especially my Canadian audience, to understand who's running and why they want to run for you. And regardless of what area of the country you're in, and what area is notorious for voting for this group or that group, or this person or that person, are they standing up for the constituents? Do they really mean what they say when they knock on your door saying, let me fight for you? I promise you. After the display I've seen the past couple of days with what's going on in the House of Commons and the finger wag and the blame game, let's toss the hot potato. Are they really looking out for our best interests or a best interest? Best interest. They got fishing on the mind. Best interests. Especially with the inflation crisis going on now. More millions getting handed to Ukraine. Because when Zelensky came to visit, they all gave him a standing ovation too. More millions of our money going to Ukraine. And yet we can't upgrade our military too. Right? People are still worried about what's woke and what's kind and considerate. We have an inclusive military. Yes, I know. I know how inclusive our military is. Trust me. How much more inclusive does it have to be? Right? Am I one of the only soldiers left that believes in having a proper mustache and a proper beard and a proper haircut to represent this country proudly? Shine your fucking boots, press your fucking pants, look like you care. You're a goddamn ambassador. But I'm a civilian now, so I really can't critique that. But I enforced it as an NCO because it was enforced on me for all the right reasons. Look like you care. Look like you represent this country and be proud to do so. But now we have rules in place where it doesn't matter. You can look any way you want to because it's freedom of expression. Okay. The enemy is going to go, ha, 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 look at you, you crazy hippie dude. Bang. You know what I mean? They're not going to take you seriously. But, since it's allowed now, but that's just my point of view, ladies and gentlemen. There's some serving members that may disagree with me, but I don't care. I don't care. Right? I don't give a shit how long your hair is, whatever. I can understand First Nations. They were allowed to have a ponytail and tie it up properly. Ladies had to do a bun or, keep it neat and trimmed. Men's beards, men's mustaches had to be trimmed accordingly. But you could serve now and have something like this. Hey, okay. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though, ladies and gentlemen. But tell me what you think. Send me a comment or a question or two in the comments, and my email will be in the description too, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to have any inquiries or have a debate, please let me know how you feel. Don't be shy. I'll be right back after this.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. The Tuesday Rant on this 26th September on the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 232. Yes, there was a Nazi in the House of Commons. Jawohl, you don't say. Well, he didn't say eat the bugs. Yes, oh, jawohl. It didn't penetrate the cabinet. Well, he penetrated better than Klaus Schwab ever did. Jawohl. And more deflections from the liberals, which I've just been discussing too. So, like I said, my Twitter feed was blowing up with some of the comments I made. And I made a few comments in regards to don't fuck with people that have actually contemplated suicide, right? And this is coming from some music teacher. I didn't get his name, but I just deleted him. I try not to hang on to certain conversations I have with people on Twitter. But in the same sense, I am really reading some stupid comments, like just pure stupidity. It's like, what kind of world do you live in? You know, you snap your finger, you can just turn to something magical, sparkle, farkle. No soy, right? You just turn around one day, you take a dump and you smell daffodils instead of poop. What is it? Right? There's nothing wrong with protecting your kids. Nothing wrong with standing up for your kids. And there's nothing wrong with a teacher being concerned for a child's welfare. But from what I've read, some of the news reports I've seen, and some of the disgusting books that are being presented to children in the name of SOGI, in the name of wokeism, I can see why parents are pissed. And what gets me is how liberals and NDP are all for it. Oh, it's about being inclusive. No, it's teaching kids something they shouldn't be learning just yet, right? Because I'm a firm believer letting kids grow up and decide on their own terms, right? I was accused of being a sexist there about a month ago. Some kid come on my Facebook page, and he asked me, "Oh, you must think a woman's place is in the kitchen, eh there, Crusty?" And I basically shot him down and said, "No, a woman's place is where she wants to be, just like any man's place." And his response was, "Oh, are you sure he's a man?" And I just ended the conversation. Hello, nurse. More Quaaludes over here, please. Thank you. So some people's kids, right? Anyhow, I will end this on a more positive note, ladies and gentlemen. Hours are getting better at work. I've got some screenplays and stuff in the works. I'm trying to promote to get the word out there. I'm being very, very creative the past little while, getting ideas, write them down. I'm going to be contemplating some comedy too. Probably have another channel up maybe sometime in the next few months. Do some comedy. I've written some characters, some scenarios, not skit ideas, just scenarios, what ifs, and all that too. So stay tuned to that. Once again, thank you everybody who has said your kind words and your comments and those emails I received yesterday. Thank you very much. Those individuals know who you are, right? And those individuals are inquiring about some kit. I will get that to you as soon as I can. I've got to sort some payment issues out with my pay service, PayPal and all those guys, just to get them in the loop and things. I have to update all that. But anyway, make a long story short, I'm doing some admin. Anyway, but once again, thank you all who have come out to these episodes so far. More will be coming. It's because of you, you wonderful people, that I do this. And we have to get the words out, get the dialogue out, let people think, and let people have different perspectives on how things really are in this country. My American friends, thank you once again. Another round of applause for all you wonderful people in Washington State, Oregon, and Alaska. I'm seeing numbers get up. Thank you very much. And to my friends in Ontario, BC, and here in Alberta especially. Awesome. Thank you. Keep subscribing. Keep liking. Like I said, send me a comment or two. Give me a thumbs up. Help the algorithm out. Help us Canucks get our words out there too. And a special thank you again to Northern Perspective for your dedication, your hard work on getting your perspective out there as well too. You and Cypher and Fox, you guys are awesome. Don't hesitate to comment on my show tonight. And I'll try to get some lives in the next little while too, time pending. But I'll try to get some more live streams up and maybe have some guests. We'll see that in the future. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck Tuesday Rant on the Crusty Canuck podcast for 26 September, episode 232. I wish nothing but good things for you all out there. Like I say, the fall is coming, so stock up in your wood, stock up in your canning, extra food stores if you need, extra tobacco if you're a smoker, caffeine, all that good stuff. And do what you can to help each other out. Help your neighbors out if you can too. I got to do some yard work there for my neighbor there shortly. So I got to just move some wood for him. I told him I'll take it to the dump for him. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. Little things like that help, right? He babysat my dogs there a couple days ago, so I'm going to give him a hand too. So back and forth, give or take, help a neighbor out. And just try to be good to yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I know winter's coming and things get depressing, but just take a look at your family and your friends and just try to be a little bit grateful for what you have and what you've accomplished. And if you feel that you haven't accomplished something, then all the more reasons to get out there and try to accomplish something. If you can't do it for somebody else, then do it for yourself. There's nothing wrong with being good to yourself on occasion. That doesn't make you selfish. It just makes you alive and it makes you human. Right? Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 26th of September, 2023. Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. Be good to your neighbors. Be good to yourself. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you next Tuesday for another rant. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.